Welcome back to the Garza Gaming channel. Today we're going to talk about the upcoming 8.8 update that's going live Tuesday, September 7th. Now, are these changes warranted, or are they just going to be a pain in our butt? I don't know, but we're about to find out. Let's get into it. So let's get into it. So as you can see, we're getting 4 new skins. So we're going to be getting a new Anubis skin, a new Tsukuyomi skin, a new Janus, and a new Sun Wukong. So no biggie here. But let's get to the meat of it, right? Let's get to the items. Now, the first item that's getting nerfed is actually Fighter's Mask. Now, I personally don't really use this item. But what's going to happen with this is they're actually decreasing the physical power from 35 to 30, and then decreasing also the magic power that you get from it from 65 to 5. So they're pretty much just taking away 5 power from both physical and magical power on that one. Sundering Axe. This is one that I've seen a few people use actually in Arena. And what they're ending up doing is they're going to actually nerf this one too. They're actually decreasing the base bonus damage from the item's passive from 5% to 3% of the target's current health. 2% of the owner's protection scaling is unchanged. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to, how our warriors are going to like that. Soul Gem. Here we go with one of my items that I use a lot, right, on my mages. So Soul Gem, let's see what they did here. So for Soul Gem, what they ended up doing is they decreased the health from the item's passive from 40% of your magic power scaling to 30%. So pretty much what they did is they just they reduced your heals by 10%, which is really not going to be too big of a problem, I think. Most of when I see Soul Gem going off, most of the heals are in like 130 or so, a couple hundred. So at the most, your heals are going to be like maybe anywhere between 12 to maybe 20 points less. So it's not going to be that much of a deal breaker there. At least they didn't touch the damage it does. And that's what I'd be more worried about. For me, on this item, the healing was an afterthought. It was just like a cherry on top of the sundae, right? It wasn't really why I got this item. Usually I play this item because of the cooldown reduction and the additional damage that passive does after you get those 4 stacks and it goes off. Chibi Bomb. They ended up decreasing the power increase from this item's passive from 15 to 10. Now this one's gonna suck. This one's gonna suck big time, because what's gonna end up happening is, taking into account the standard attack power that the item, or the base attack power that this item comes with. It used to scale up to 85. Or to 80, I should say. So what's going to end up happening is you're actually going to use at its max stack, because it stacks 3 times, right? So you used to get 15, 15, and 15 every time you hit with a basic attack, and it stayed there as long as you kept on hitting them. So what's going to end up happening is you're only going to get 10 extra attack power per stack. So what's going to end up happening is, instead of having at a max 80 attack power because of this item, the max you're going to be able to cap out is going to be 65 attack power. So you're going to be losing 15 attack power by using this item, which is going to suck, because I actually use this item on my new hunter builds. Is losing 15 attack power going to be that big of a deal and making it a deal breaker where I don't use this item no more? I don't think it is, man. I don't think it is. We're gonna have to wait and see on that one, right? Okay, Obsidius's bow. They decreased the attack speed from 40 to 30% on this one. Now this bow right here is a very tricky bow. Now I started incorporating in this bow more and more into my hunter builds that I use to break up what I like to call team CC builds, right? Or where you have these teams that do chain CC teams, man. They're just running rampant in Arena right now. So what I ended up doing is, actually on my hunters, I started incorporating a build that takes advantage of the AoE that this item does. And what it does is, as y'all seen in my videos, it causes individuals to disperse, so they don't get that extra damage, making it harder to communicate and actually plan those chain CC attacks. Now, by decreasing this item by 10% attack speed, It could hinder how fast you can proc this item depending on what the rest of your build's going to be. But realistically, on the gods that I can just remember from the top of my head that I actually used this bow on, a lot of them already had a attack that actually boosts attack speed. So I was pretty much capped at attack speed even with a loss of 10%. So I don't think that this is going to be that big of a deal, at least for my builds. I don't know, maybe some other hunters out there might feel this one, but I don't think that this one's going to be that crucial to my build. So we're going to see how that works out. Now, Void Shield. For Void Shield, what they end up doing is they decrease the physical protections from 60 to 45. Wow, that's a big decrease on protections right there. That's insane. Stone Cutting Sword, another one of my favorite items that I love using them on my assassins and on my warriors, right? Because they gave you those defenses, but not at the sacrifice of attack power. You know what I'm saying? So what they ended up doing is they decreased the physical protections buff from this item's passive from 7 a stack to 5 a stack. So pretty much from 21 protections down to 15 at max stack. The physical protection shred debuff is not changed, staying at 7 per stack. So as you all know, with this item, for every basic attack you gave, you actually debuffed an enemy for 7 points of protection, and actually took it for yourself and gave yourself those 7 points of protection. So what they're saying here is that for every basic attack that you hit an enemy with, you're still going to debuff the enemy by 7 protection points per hit, up to 21 points. Unfortunately, you're not going to get a full 7. So for every 7 they lose, you're only going to gain 5, which is going to suck for my... It probably won't hurt my warrior builds as much, but for my assassin builds, there's a good chance that they might feel that. Thank goodness that they did not mess around with the movement speed, because the thing that I loved about this item is not only did I use it as a defensive type item for its protections and its debuffs, but the movement speed also works to get you out of those crazy situations. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it is what it is. Wingblade, another very good, one of the last counter CC type items, and they ended up nerfing it again, but thank goodness it wasn't against its counter CC capabilities. What they ended up doing is they just decreased the health that you get from it from 250 to 200, which kind of sucks, man, because I mean, I'm telling you, they're just whittling away at this item. This item is one of the best items you can get to counter the craziness that happens in Arena with all those chain CC teams, right? So I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, so let's move on to the god tweaks, nerfs, or buffs, right? So for the first one, it's going to be Charybdis. And for Charybdis, what they ended up doing is they actually ended up fixing the speed on her number 3, or that whirlpool, right? I guess that whirlpool wasn't getting the intended speed that it was supposed to be getting. So they ended up fixing that. And then they fixed some other bugs that's going to come out with future notes. Okay, for all you Gilgamesh players, go ahead and get out the tissues now, because the boohoos are coming, bro. The tears are going to be flying, because guess what? They just nerfed the crap out of Gilgamesh yet again. They ended up decreasing his wind wall slow from 50, 55, 60, 65 to 70 to a straight across the board, 50% across the board at all ranks. Ooh, that's going to suck. And then they, on top of it, to throw a little bit more salt on the wound, what they ended up doing is increasing the cooldown from 90 to 110 seconds. Ouch. His drop kick and the initial hit power scaling from his drop kick, in addition to the scaling of the burst hit damage he got from his drop kick, they both ended up getting nerfed by 5%. So now what they ended up doing is they decreased initial hit physical power scaling from 50 to 40, so my bad, by 10%, and then they decreased his burst hit physical scaling by another 10, so from 55 to 45. So not 5, they actually decreased it by 10%. Oh wow, that's gonna suck. But I tell you what, man, that was a pretty powerful attack, man. I remember getting many of side kicks, and then all of a sudden you hear that. So yeah, so there's gonna be a lot of Gilgamesh players that are not gonna be very happy about that. And then Heroes Advance, what they ended up doing is they decreased the buff radius from 150 to about 110. It's a pretty significant decrease in radius of this buff, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so moving on to Morgan Le Fay, another favorite, especially in Arena, right? So for Morgan Le Fay, what they ended up doing with her is they actually ended up nerfing her Sigil Mastery. So what they ended up doing is they increased the cooldown of Sigil Mastery from 12 seconds to 13 seconds. So they increased it by 1 second. Are you going to feel that? As you all know, in Arena, every 1 second counts. So, yeah, you're going to feel it. Increase in hit points from her clone from 10% of Morgan's to 30% of Morgan's hit points. To tell you the truth, I hardly ever used a clone. I don't think I've ever used a clone, to tell you the truth, because her freaking taunt is where she makes her money, right? At least in Arena. This might come more into play maybe in some of the other modes, but I very seldom see her clone being used. But at least now that her clone will have more hit points, and it looks like they're going to increase the power scaling. So the power of a clone is going to have, they're going to increase the clone's power from 50% of Morgan's attack power to 75% of her attack power. So they pretty much increased it by 50% of the current state, which that's pretty significant, man. That is pretty significant. Again, I don't really use her clone in Arena. Not to say that there's not people out there that do, so this is really not going to affect my playstyle. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. So now moving on to Shroud of Wildfire, which is one of her bread and butter moves, right? So what they ended up doing with this one, they actually increased the cooldown from 13 seconds to 14 seconds. Wow, that's right up there on par with like a Cerberus's 1. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That's definitely gonna suck. Now, consuming power. What they ended up doing is they ended up nerfing the amount of health per hit she gets from her ult, right? Whereas before she used to get 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14% per hit, depending on, you know, your level of the god. Now it's been moved to 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10%. So late game, they pretty much decreased it by 4%, which is a significant decrease in health. So yeah, I'm sure there's some Morgan Le Fay players out there that are not going to be very happy about that. Osiris, well, they ended up nerfing this guy again too. What they ended up doing is for Sickle Strike, they actually increased the cooldown of Sickle Strike from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. And this thing does come up really quick. I mean, you got to think about it, man. 5 to 6 seconds on top of maybe any cooldown items that you might have, man. That thing was like always up, always up. So, you know, once from going to 5 to 6 seconds, I don't think that people are going to feel that much, to tell you the truth. But hey, I'm not an Osiris player, so I don't know. And Spirit Flail, they increased the cooldown from 10 seconds to 11 seconds. I'll tell you the truth, they probably won't feel this one as much either. But again, like I said, I'm not an Osiris player, so I don't know. Hey, if you, once this nerfs come out, and if you're an Osiris main and it is impacting you, let me know, man, in the comments of this video. I'd love to get your feedback on that, right? So here we go with Persephone, right? So for Persephone, they ended up nerfing her too, man. What they ended up doing is they actually decreased the movement of her flowers by 10%. I had no issue getting away from her flowers, so having them slowed by an additional 10%, I mean, I guess is going to benefit anybody that's not playing Persephone, right? If anything, it's going to make Persephone a little weaker. And they keep on, you know, dwindling away at Persephone. I don't know, man. I personally don't like playing Persephone. The only time I really play Persephone is to do builds for our videos. Nightwing enjoys playing her more than I do. Nightwing is likes playing her. I just don't. Her kit is just not compatible with my playstyle. And then having her flowers, you know, slowed down by an additional 10%. That's gonna suck, dude. So they also decreased the flower bite damage from 40, 80, 120, 160, and 200 to 40, 75, 110, 145, and 80. So what they ended up doing is at late game at max level, they decreased the damage that her flower bite does by 20 damage, which is a lot. 20 damage is a lot, man. That is a lot. That's 10%. So they pretty much decrease her damage by 10% of her flowers and the speed of her flowers by 10% pretty much at the end game, which is craziness. Jamosha. For Jamosha, what they ended up doing is they removed the 10% bonus healing buff that she can apply with her basic attacks. Wow, that definitely sucks. And then what they ended up doing also is they actually increased the cooldown of her ult by 30 seconds. Oh, 20 seconds. I'm sorry, by 20 seconds from 120 to 140. Whew. Now, don't get me wrong. In arena, this alt could really come into play, and you can make some really good plays with it. But I don't think that it was that much of a burden where it needed this type of nerf. This is obviously in response to what's going on in the conquest type world. So yeah, so I mean, we all know, arena's an afterthought, right? So I mean, it is what it is. Okay, Ymir. So for Ymir, what they ended up doing is they nerfed him again. This is one of the oldest gods in Smite, so I don't even know why the heck at this level, years after the games come out, they continue to nerf this character. As it is, he's way weaker than he used to be. But yeah, it is what it is. He's still a very, very formidable guardian to go against with all that CC, especially in the hands of somebody that knows how to use them very, very well, which is definitely not me. But it is what it is. So what ended up happening is they actually ended up nerfing his frostbite. They decreased the damage reduction debuff Ymir applies to his enemies from 15% to 10%, which is pretty significant, man. It's almost a third less debuff. So a third less of the percentage of the debuff. Yes, that sucks. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it for 8.8. 8.8 is actually coming to us this Tuesday, September 7th. So what do you think about 8.8, man? Do you think that these changes are warranted, or do you think that Hi-Rez, tripped and bumped their head? Let me know in the comments down below. I love to hear your feedback, And if you ever have any feedback or something that I might have missed in one of these videos, let me know, man. Like I said, I don't main a lot of these guys. I just play them every now and then casually or for videos. So if there's something that I'm missing where a change is going to affect a god even worse than I let you guys know in the video, let me know, man. Let me know. Like I'm saying. But yeah, that's 8.8, and later on this week I'll be doing a second video for the upcoming 8.9 update, which is really going to break my heart. I had already started reading over that one, and it was just like, oh man. But anyway, for all y'all that are new to the channel, don't forget we put out videos every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, mostly around arena, Smite arena content. We do builds on various different gods, and we talk about their mechanics and actually play arena games and put the builds that we put together and the mechanics that we talk about live, in game. And additionally, if you enjoy our videos on YouTube and are subscribed to YouTube, hey, don't forget that we're also live on Twitch and on Facebook Gaming. And that's why I say it's very important that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on those notifications, because while we put out videos every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, sometimes we actually stream throughout the week. So make sure you have those notifications on so you get notified if we do. Again, for all you that haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm Dark Garza, the OG on the GC. See you next time.